So I'm actually kind of curious, going back to your parents. How did they start reacting when you started kind of following your goal? You know what I mean? Was it one of those things like, you know, you're not considered legit until you make money, or was it just like, oh, we're behind you, we're happy
It's
to be
interesting.
doing that?
Yeah, and I thought the whole time that they go against me.
Yeah.
But they didn't make it. So
Yeah.
my father actually like copied in the company he worked for all my scripts. So I had that. I was I think 17 and 21. I was really sitting there and writing scripts and scripts and submitted it to everybody and production companies, TV stations, and nobody ever bought it. And you get then your letters back like from the TV channels, no. And but whatever I wrote, for example, and I told him I need 20 copies of that script. He did that in the company, came back with 2,000 pages, yeah. So I'm really happy that he supported me the whole time, but indirect. It was not like, great, Uwe, that you want to be a film director. They were not super happy about it.
Yeah.
But they never came up and told me, look, do something else. It is completely senseless, you idiot. Yeah. So this also never happened, and my mother was always supporting me the whole time, and I think this was in a way important, because if you get so much hits in the face to get it going at one point, then it's tough if you would be at home also, and everybody would flip out on you and tell you what loser you are, and you should stop thinking even about it.
Well, it's very difficult to have enough of a. I mean, I don't care what they say, and no matter how big and strong your self-confidence is, I mean, after so many hits, it's gonna take a tumble. So it's always nice to know that you've got people in your corner. But have you ever thought about like revisiting any of those old scripts and that you made that you wrote when you were younger and turning them into movies now?
More or less ideas from that script. I don't think that from my position right now, I would not say that the scripts were really good. So I could not say like, oh, this script was a masterpiece, now I do it. So all that scripts would really need work. But there are, like in a lot of that scripts, are some really cool ideas, because I wrote it in the sense like what I never saw in a movie, or how I want to do it. And so there are very good scenes, basically. And I wrote a war movie. I think there's a great a middle part, like a battle in the middle part, how this battle turns. It's I never saw this in a movie before, and it would be really cool to have it in a war movie. But the overall story of my war movie, it's not good. Yeah. So, and this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Listen.
Go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine. I was going to ask in relation to that, like when you sit down to actually write a script, what's your process? How do you actually go about that?
Yeah, it's actually a very problematic subject matter what you're coming up with, because I was at this point, after I finished my university in Germany, you go to the army or you do social work. So, and I drove an ambulance for 1.5 years. So I cannot say that this really was a tough job in a way. Of course you see some people dying and dead people after a car crash and this kind of stuff. So it's but it's far away from the Martin Scorsese movie where you're really getting it that you get trauma or something. It's not the case. So
you weren't pumping speed.
No, it's like it
as an ambulance driver.
Absolutely. So but in that time I had a lot of time where you sit there and you have nothing to do because nothing happens. So so what is actually good if you have a day without driving out. And I wrote a lot of time there, so I was in my separate small room, and I can write only if my phone is not ringing, if I have I'm a slow writer, so I need hours before I start writing, and I need music. And and in the earlier days, I was really sitting there, and I could hear over and over again the same music. most of the time classical music, to be honest, because songs are too small and they're getting you out of it. So, but if you have Bach playing for hours and hours and hours, you're coming into a completely different mood emotionally, and you start. And then I start writing, and then I don't stop. So, and this is my problem right now. Is since years I have no time anymore to write. The last things I put it really deep input in the scripts were Heart of America, my movie about school violence, and where I was. So and after it, I have no time to take myself out of my business life, because I have, from the financing to the production to the distribution, I have like 3 battlefields and not only one. So, and this is a huge problem if you actually want to do something.
Right.
And so the point is, I cannot sit down and write for 30 minutes and then I do some business and then I write for 30 minutes so that I click it from this side to that side. It's impossible for me.
So it's constantly like a double-edged sword. You want to be successful and you want to have these things gain more notoriety, but at the same time it totally cuts into your personal time.
Do you feel like giving up responsibility for scripts and like and directing off of other people's scripts has would you have rather they been your scripts? Would you have rather like written the script and had full control over things?
I told on House of the Dead, of course, was absolutely not my movie. In a way, I took the script how it was approved by Sega, the whole production was ready to go basically. So, and I felt really bad on set with the script. And if you ever talk to the actors of House of the Dead, they know that I really omitted like 30 pages of dialogue. And I was sitting there like, I cannot stand it. It should be, I want to change it. This was really, so then on Alone in the Dark, I put it way more already into the story process, into the script process. And, but it was also a tricky situation because I was insecure on my own. What is that what the American audience really want? So, and then we had Rush and Scherer, the 2 German guys writing it. And we had Alain Mastey from Canada rewriting it. And then it went almost mixed up, and I got good, like people told me, basically the Alain Mastey thing is way better, but he had it very much, let's say, ethno kind of thing, with that artifacts and all that stuff. It was even way more as in the Rush Scherer script, and Rush Scherer script was way more straight genre. Right. And I think now we mixed it too much up in the end. What was maybe a big mistake for Alone in the Dark. At least I was involved in the whole process. And on Blood Rain was the first movie then actually where I really put it a lot of input in the script also. And I told Gwyneth Turner basically all the major story points and in what way we actually want to do it. And after it, the Dungeon Siege experience was the hardest one so far. What turns out in the end, I think in the way best movie I did, and because we hired Freeman and Glenn Bennis to do the script. They took 1.5 years writing it, and then it was basically not doable. The script, I don't want to say that the script was bad, but it was not doable. It was like a $500 million movie. So and then we said like, okay, but we have to have it more structured in a way that it's actually possible to do. So we hired Doug Taylor, another writer, and he went into it, and he is really a genius. And he took all the points I had and transformed that script into a completely new one, basically, but doable for 60 million, what is in our case maybe like 80 or 90 million major movie, and to have that human element in it. So I wanted to focus on Dungeon Siege really in the characters, and I told him so absurd it is the first movie, forget genre, say it is a melodrama, say it is something where we want that the people are crying because of the story and not that the people are excited about the great CGI shots we have. So, and I think he really fulfills that, and so I'm very happy with that movie. But even that is like now, where we are right now is that I want to do Postal next, and I've write it.
Right.
So I will go away from Germany also, for that nobody finds me basically for 7 or 8 weeks, and I've wrote already a lot of stuff down, but I really need like time completely out where I can sit down and write it how I want to do it, because it's back actually to the German Fred movie times.
Right.
So this is a chance, Postal, to do something crazy, incorrect, dark humor, and still with a lot of action, like, but more a kind of Pulp Fiction kind of thing.
Yeah.
And in Sin City, it was a great sense of humor in also. What I loved, it was my favorite movie was Sin City last year, and I think this is a way to go with a Postal movie, and I don't feel good if someone else writes it. So I want to write it, and then I want that the video game company approves it or gives me notes, or they say this is not good or whatever, and we change it this way. But I don't want to have another writer helping me out there for this.